Alright, welcome everybody, part 2. Hi Warrior, how's it going? Hmm, that's weird. M My OBS readout still has the chat from the last stream, even though it's obviously not there in the overlays. Oh well, I'm not going to worry about that. Alright, let's take a look at the first path. Cool. We want poison resistance or immunity, but especially immunity. Um, we might want buffs, we might want healing reversal, and we want some answer to encroaching stun. It's all fine. And that's probably going to lead to this. Fine. He's immune. She's immune. She's immune. He has the nice reversal. Yeah, let's just go straight immunity with these. I think that's the way to go. The Ares earlier and pulled the Cosmic Gem between Null and Serpent. Thoughts? I think Serpent is the stronger overall champion for the game. I think Null is incredibly defensible if you really enjoy Colosseum. It's probably where I would put it. Serpent's not bad for Colosseum, but I think Null tends to scale higher. This gave you a Mystic Gem. Hold on. Why did the over... Did I not save this out? That's weird. Sorry, that cleared chat because it was clearly truncating what you typed. So hopefully that does it, and I don't have to mess with it further. But congrats on Kushala, that's awesome. I'm well aware, Magnus, but thanks for the input. How's it going? No, no, you were totally fine, Walrus. I just realized that it had cut off your Mystic Gem, and so something in my Stream Elements overlay was not correct to how I had it. And then I clicked save and it reverted to the way I had it, like, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. It's whatever, it's fine. It's definitely not your fault. Looks like the reset worked. Got a 4 to 5 skill, went with my boy Kingpin. Nice, congrats on that. I'll keep an eye out for it. Why do you think there's a node missing? Okay, anti-unstoppable, I think, is a good one for this. Ah, crud. Yep. I was like, cool, I'm one long combo away from playing around encroaching stun, and then I realized I let my block down, and I got stunned. This should work out much better. Whoops. I was mashing that special button. I just got... Wait. Oh, she isn't taking his unstoppable into account. I didn't know Oh, that's a bug. All right, come on, throw it. Thank you. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna have to look into that one tomorrow. Or, who am I kidding? Later. For those of you who are lost, so Spider-Woman is supposed to evade when she hits into an unstoppable opponent, right? But it looks like she is looking for most unstoppables and not the champion's unique one. It's probably a timing thing because his is very weird under the hood. So like this is an incredibly understandable bug to have happen, but I had never run into that before. Definitely initial clear. We'll kind of see how much time that takes me. I'm not fully ruling out 100% tonight, but I don't normally move that fast, honestly. Yeah, a little too quick on her special one. That's fine. Oh, come on, Carl. Thank you. Nice. I figured that was the lane you were talking about. I don't think that one's missing anything. There there are prowess mutants that scale with the opponent's combo. Danny Moonstar coming to mind. And there are plenty of mutants that can just answer Special Connoisseur. I heard a lot of people were having good success with Cyclops there. Day one, odds are no, Elder. I won't say I have a job because I'm not trying to imply that people who do go for day one don't. But my job doesn't really line itself up with streaming that much the day that content drops. I tend to just have meetings significantly later than that. Hey, Stig, how's it going, man? Fine so far, Duke. Just have a lot of it to do. Uh, I think the art team does care, but it's a little bit different. Um, I think the art team cares quite a bit. But there are generally several artists that work on a character, so I think it from the beginning feels a little different. Like there's a modeler, then an animator, then a VFX artist, and then also a tech artist who works on most of the characters. There's a couple of those, but between them they do everybody. Um, and so each of them individually tends to spend a little bit less time on each character, right? They have like a couple weeks of really focusing on somebody as opposed to like I'm focused on a single character for like almost 3 months, right? So it's a little bit different in waiting, but I don't say that to take away from their attachment at all. They take a lot of pride in their work, and I would not be surprised if some of them did think of their characters that. I just also wouldn't be shocked if they didn't, because the workload is different. Primary is stronger than the secondary. Punjabi, how's it going, man? I don't know why I did that. Not my best. I'm not playing great around encroaching stun today. Thankfully, this is not tuned very aggressively. Honestly, I've been traveling a fair amount recently. I have not signed up for a pre-release yet, and I would not be shocked if that means that it's already too late. Um, I would like to try, probably on Sunday if so. Will also cut into my streaming time, unfortunately, but you know, pre-releases are only once each set. Pardon me. Okay, this all seems completely fine, and I don't think I need to change anybody. Hey, work, how's it going, man? I mean, I'm not going to talk about things that haven't been announced, Crocs, and you are definitely in that territory. But we're not worried. That's the opportunity to make those characters come back and be meaningful multiple times in the future, right? That's not really a problem for us. Yeah, I did see that work. I'm happy for you. Hey, Jason. Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that work. I understand it's super frustrating when things break, and I realize that there's probably a certain amount of bias here from working in game design. I don't understand why people get this angry or upset over when things break when they're clearly unintentional. Like, we'll make it right. Yeah, that's all I'll really say there. No, that's not true. I'll say one more thing, which is that things are slightly more likely to break when we try to do cool moments, and the designer for the end of that fight was trying to do a cool moment. That's the kind of thing that is more likely to break, and it sucks, and I'm sad that that's, frustrating people, but gonna happen some amount of the time, unfortunately. What's my plan for the prowess path? Probably just Dannying everything I can on it, but I'm sure I've got other options as well. Who do I want to use for this? Let's play Cassie a bit more. I think so for now, work. Because the intent of the fight was for a single special 3 to end it. Yeah, I should have known that that was playing a little too cute with the duration there. That's fine. We can go to special 3. Fun. How do you attempt to knock Karina out with a blocked hit if she's stunned? How do you even land a hit into her block? Which is probably exactly why it's broken that way, but obviously shouldn't be possible. I was not expecting her to get up that fast. Gotcha. I'm not really worried about, or oh, sorry, never mind. I started misreading something. But yeah, they're not going to get forgotten, Crocs. Uh, the first and the third GSN, like we have a pretty collaborative design process. So for the most part, everybody is involved in everything. As in, like, I didn't build leader, but I was in design reviews where I offered feedback on leader before he was implemented. I was in meta planning meetings where we were talking about what we wanted leader to do with, for like the science class and things overall. I was in playtests for several different iterations of leaders, kit, etc. Right, but I wasn't the principal designer on leader. And so when we say that somebody was designed by blah blah blah, what we mean is that the principal designer was that person. And so, like, when we were reviewing early drafts of Leader's Kit, it was Kabam Honeydew that wrote those drafts. It was Kabam Honeydew that took our feedback and then made changes based on them, came back to us with more ideas. Um, then the designer actually implements the character, which is what I think you mean by coding, taking our like proprietary language and actually hooking up the abilities so that they function in game. Your principal designer will run the playtests again, collect feedback, make changes based on it. What else am I thinking? And then we'll also like tune, build the info page, do bug fixing, um, and then support like balance and QA as they do their passes. Oh, that's pretty wild, Finn. Okay. So the modifier of that needs to be locked, which also makes sense. Actually, that it shouldn't be exposed to that. I would have expected that to have. Trying to make sure I'm using internal language. I would have expected that to, or external language. I would have expected that to not be a passive. Because I don't think it should be. Because that just increases the likelihood of bugs like that. Okay, well, this is good stuff to put in the ticket for tomorrow. I forget if I said this out loud, Walrus, but yeah, it's a very fun job. Okay, keep going. All right, what's the skill path? Cool, we just want damaging effects, blah, 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 blah. Lots of damaging effects. Maybe some light unblockable protection. Ideally some anti-weakness, but seriously damaging effects. Okay. Extra seriously bleeds. Alright. I don't think Korg's bleeds will last long enough for him to work well, or I really would use him, because that sounds fun. I think that's all the obvious ones. We'll bring in Blade. I know it would be much faster with a Koye, but I don't really enjoy her as much anymore because of that, so... No, 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 that's totally fine to ask. I didn't have any earlier qualifications other than playing this game for, at the time, about 8 years-ish. My degrees are actually in classical music performance, and so that's what I had been doing until then. But the pandemic was rough for live music. It, I wasn't at a level where I felt insulated from it, and I decided to apply for a balance job here. Didn't end up getting that, but then ended up applying for um, the job I have now of champion designer. And basically, what the gamble that my manager took was that, like, I was thinking enough like a designer that even though I didn't have formal training in that, they figured they could probably teach that part to me, and that it would be made up in my head start on onboarding for the game itself. And that did work out and has now worked out for a few other people. I will also say, one second, let me grab this. I don't know what your situation is right now or where you are, but if you are or can be in Vancouver, Texas, or California, and you would like to apply, we are currently hiring for a balance designer. Yeah, D&D honestly did help. And that did come up. I had spent the previous couple of years doing a lot of homebrewing for Dungeons and Dragons because I was running a campaign during the pandemic for some of my friends. And yeah, that helped. It's funny, Warrior. Fair enough. Oh, neat. Yeah, that's cool. In a sense, Warrior, like you are correct in the sense that that is enough of a background that if you have the aptitude, it's probably enough prep. I do want to make sure though that like let's not undersell it. I do think that in a lot of ways being good at this job is very difficult. Not going to turn this into a brag session or anything like that, but like I do take pride in my work. Pardon me. Our animations and moveset are really not great with the weakness node, are they? Spends a lot of time very close to the opponent. That was 100% my. I do think a lot of people could work at Kabam. Like again, like I said, as far as the minimum requirements, there are a lot of people in the community who I think could do the job. I don't think that there are a lot of people who would be good at the job long term necessarily. But that kind of gets into like a temperament, a philosophy, like how much. Yeah, like I said, it's a tough job, but it's a really good one. Very happy to be here. Okay, need to make sure not to go too bleed heavy on Bill since he has the resistance. Let's go Tuma for this one. I love it, Tuma. I didn't play that as efficiently as I could have with him. Yeah, I hear that. I'm definitely not going to give you any immigration advice. That's a major life decision. But yeah, it's been a good time. All right, there we go. Three. Yeah, you need 3 champion-specific tokens and 10 class-specific tokens. Or I guess technically 11 class-specific tokens, because it's 1 for A1 and 10 for A2. Pardon. Well, that's the worst of both worlds. We lost the power and got hit. Yeah, there we go. Do you mind, sir? I was expecting better results than this from the cash out. Not gonna lie. Yeah, that's boring. Alright, we'll try somebody else and I'll play around the power lock. Yeah, I agree with that too, Warrior. You see that with some other games like Magic the Gathering as well, like former champions helping design the game. Very cool. Yeah, it's not a... No, it is a power lock debuff. Okay, well then I should have just been doing this. Alright. That's on me for not reading closely. Jerk. Hey, John, how's it going? Realizing you need glasses does? Yeah, I'm sure that had a huge impact. Lord. So it kind of depends on what content you're aiming for, Duke. If you're looking at longer fights, then what GSN outlined is very helpful, and you want to learn how to combine them. But if you're doing like a battlegrounds fight that he's actually appropriate for, often the way you play Scorpion correctly is just parry medium, medium, parry medium, medium until you get to special 2, and then you throw it and they die. That's kind of it. Okay, so this is a spiral path. It is overwhelmingly a spiral path. And then I'll play with some others. Inspire, I'll take... Probably want somebody else for that. Yeah, plenty of options there. And then just who else do I want to play? Tiger can be fun with powerful from afar. I haven't used Nico much in a while. And then let's go ahead and bring... Yeah, Gene for Moondragon makes it easy. Let's try somebody else as well. I don't know why I tried that light attack there. Okay, apparently I don't remember how long Carnage's specials are. I admit I'm not really, like, fully paying attention, but this is embarrassing. You know what? I should have used somebody else for Carnage, because that physical resistance does add up. Otherwise, the fight's fine, and she'll be good later. That doesn't help. They weren't picked at random, but I'm not sure there's really a pattern to follow. We're not trying to tease anything. mostly because I was trying to have fun with Mojo. Yeah, indefinite buffs are why I didn't bring Mojo. Not really the best fit for him. Like, you can make it work, but eh. Alright, this is 100% the place to use the buff immunity on start. Because it's silly. Oh, that's not very nice, Magnus. There are not many mystics that counter miss, no. Spiral's the only one that does it explicitly, as far as I remember, because it was a significant part of her targeting. Gambit also has physical resistance. That's annoying. Long shot special one. Yeah. That's not really much of an answer. I think the idea was he was lucky, so the special one couldn't miss, and that's probably about as much thought as was put into that. It was a different time. Alright, she gives him the last one. That's funny. That's an interaction that wasn't really on my radar. Well, that was very nice. Excuse me. That was very annoying. Timing of that fight didn't quite line up. I don't agree with that, Magnus. Oh, you mean like pick her in the draft? Yeah, I mean that's probably true. You can lose with her plenty though. She's not that fast. Very intentionally. No, Bullseye's not luck based. He was just making a reference to the never miss thing. Meh. I want to use Tiger, but none of these really are great animations for it. Hey, Cyber. It's nice when abilities line up, GSN, but honestly, I try not to get too enamored with that kind of flavor because I think that can lead to designers saying like, well, yes, ability A is the better fit for this character. It hits their targets better. It fits better into their loop. It has all of the kinds of interaction I want and none of the ones I don't. But ability B, which is worse in every single one of those metrics, sounds more like the character because of what somebody named it 9 years ago. So I want to use ability B. And I don't think that that is basically ever a good idea. So, big fan of those things where they do line up, but I think it's important to insist they actually line up. Hey, Jude. Thanks, Omega. Catch you later. Okay, I did not plug that. Well, Okay. Okay, wait for it to go away. Wait for it to go away. Thank you. Should have let her miss more. I'm out of habit with Danny. That's okay. Bro. Come here. Didn't quite have the uptime we wanted on the vulnerability, but that was much closer. Jerk. Cool. Hey, Sam, how's it going, man? How'd the run go? I'm glad you're enjoying the side event, Cyber. Yeah, exactly, Darkness. Big fan of when they organic. Hey, cat. Why was Neuroshock made to counter miss? Um, I... This will sound like a shot at Eclipse. He knows I'm not a fan of this, and I think it was a mistake. So I think I can say it. Neuroshock counters miss because the intent was for it to be a parallel to how Cold Snap counters evade. Um, I don't think that was a good enough reason. I think that we should have had Neuroshock as a new mutant-based effect, and then Danny specifically could have used it to counter miss, and we wouldn't have had this like built-in automatic utility for Onslaught, which I think we ended up regretting. But yeah, that was the logic. Aries down to final phase with 2 champs. Very cool, man. Yeah, that's good stuff. Okay, this is the one that people were complaining about. Well, we are going to leave Danny on the team. Let's see. Who are bosses? Where are the bosses? Okay, it's a little bit hard for me to read. Okay, so Crossbones is one of them. So yeah, I have heard that feedback a lot work. I have enough gems. Okay, where's Danny? There she is. Who else do I want to use? I haven't used Kitty much. Let's do that. And then North Star's prowess are very good, but maybe a little bit too few and far between. Hmm. Funnily enough, Sauron's probably pretty good. Hmm. No, I will bring North Star. Okay. Pardon. Good luck, Cat. Special Connoisseur is such a restrictive node, only prowess. If only there were mutants with prowess. Like, I understand you may not have all of your favorites there, but, like, there are a lot of options, pretty objectively. Don't give me prowess in 2026. The last mutant we released has prowess. I do agree with you on that, Aiden. I think that the node should be reworked to account for that. I feel like that's just a mistake. Don't be that intimidated, Jude. Remember, there's 3 variations of the boss, and Sim is thorough, and we love him for it. But it's not the hardest boss we've ever put out. Not bad, Din. Who has Pixie in April? Several people, but you don't need Pixie. You can have any of the ones I just put on my team, or the 5 I didn't. Anyway. Oops, excuse me. Yeah, there are abilities in common between all of the bosses, but they are all a little bit different. Jerk. Stop dexing my stuff, bro. You should be dead by now. Well, that would have been a nice place for a crit, but that's okay. That would have been an even nicer place for a crit. There we go. I'm not sure Madeline was even done when this was locked in, though, is the other issue. That's very... Like, that's part of the reason you don't... Or part of the reason you don't see very recent characters in story. Yeah, saying Madeline isn't or isn't Jean Grey is definitely... That one's complicated. Take care, Sim. Alright, I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting more there. Okay, the crits help a lot. Okay, I've definitely forgotten a condition in Danny's kit. Do you need 5 neural arrows for the overload? Is that what's going on here? Yeah, that's probably what's going on here. Yep, okay. Well, this would have been faster. Still painfully freaking slow. Yeah, that's what I get for not playing her for a while. I mean, it's not really that surprising when you consider the last time that Cable's kit was touched. Power creep is normal. Jesus, yes. Thank you for hanging out, but go to bed. That's insane. I don't know exactly how much there is, Dawson. And no, I don't think it sounded, rigid. Right. It's gonna be a slow start, but an explosive finish. I'm not worried. Oh, I'm slightly worried because I waited for speed boost to run out, but did not wait for it to come back. Alright, got the pauses up. We would have gotten a lot more reverbs and prowess too, so that was just dumb, but okay. There we go. Not off the top of my head, Magnus. Pretty sure Conchuzonk has it, but I don't know if the other sites do. Yeah, I do not miss any kind of all-nighter. Haven't done that in a very long time. Nice. Alright, one more of those and we're good to go. Her bleeds are so dumb. Well done, Toad. Pardon me. Ooh. Minor critique of the writing. I feel like I could hear the German accent a little better if that said there shall be no survivors instead of there shall not be survivors. But that might be a personal bias thing. Whoops. Woo! I am not crushing it right now. Pause. Timeout. Flag on the play. I get another shot. Please hold. I fell asleep at a water park once, Warrior. Definitely got sunburned. We were at Schlitterbahn the Sunday after prom. My date and I did not get along. Not in my best headspace. Do not recommend. Daisy here is really not going for intercepts. This is making it very annoying to build prowess. There's our max increase. Ah, Kitty doesn't have a striker. I need to fix that. That was good, though. What a perfectly timed game crash there. Very fortuitous. You do need to rank up your toad at some point. I need to ascend mine. Please. Okay. I realized it didn't work last time. I'm gonna try Danny one more time. Should work a little better here. Unless, of course, I miss Elsa's freaking special one evade for the first time since 2019 or whatever she came out. Jesus. Okay, come here. Okay, we did real damage. I don't know why I didn't end with a medium there. Very done. Okay, so the issue with Red Hulk was probably just the combination of his physical resistance, his extra health pool, and then me not playing well, all of which are excellent occurrences. Yeah, because this is what I was expecting with Danny. This is the good stuff. I mean, we only have so many nodes gone. And they're not literally the exact same. I get what you mean. Like, the bonuses are the same, but they don't necessarily come with all the same ones, right? Like the science one that benefits from poisons doesn't come with its sister node that removes poisons on a parry. And I get that's probably not what you meant. Which is saying this, there are some differences. Because we don't want them to be exact reuses for the most part. But also we're going to reuse them to some extent because what's the thing? We do still like we want to have the clear class signals, especially for more casual players. And while there are other paths that say like use prowess, where you then clearly know you should bring the mutants, right? Because you're a more engaged player. We also want story content to be accessible for people who are less engaged, and so sometimes having like, hey, bring a mutant because only mutants get Furies is good, and it doesn't necessarily make sense for us to build a completely new node that says, hey, only mutants get Furies, when we have a perfectly good one from the EQ, if that makes sense. Where's Jean? There she is. Nice, Warrior. Glad you got him. I spent too much on slime tokens, I'm not gonna lie. And I probably just should have waited to get him ascended, but I like Toad a lot. Been a long time fan. Yeah, I think She-Hulk probably will be. Honestly, what I'd really love for She-Hulk is for us to make some of the improvements that we made to her, or make some of the improvements to her that I came up with on the Deathless design. But if we do that, her ceiling's probably going to need to come down. And I know that there are some people, cough MSD, who would probably prefer that didn't happen, but I think she would be a way more accessible champion if we did that. It'd be nice. Anywho, let's try and just not block, shall we? Oh, right. It's when... Okay. It's either block, isn't it? Or is it just mine? I read it completely wrong. Yep, either champion. Okay, well, we're not going to be hitting his block again. Or if we are, we're going to be playing this like Mixmaster and always doing medium light. Yep, there we go. That's fine. We still need to intercept him. Woo! That hurt. Regen, please. Come on, Brock. Alright, do still need to intercept. Dang it. I went for the intercept and I couldn't hold intercept attempt with the necessary caution and medium light into block in my head at the same time. That's alright, sometimes he's mean. Alright. Forgot which way I was going. Ah. I definitely don't need to intercept anymore. It would be fun to do it, but... I remember enjoying M'Baku in internal testing. I haven't played him much live yet. I know not everybody's enjoying him. If you already have him ranked 3, my biggest piece of advice is just always be unstoppable. Make sure that you are literally always unstoppable because you want that counter to be going up as fast as quickly, or as fast as possible, as quickly as possible. Even when you're not touching it, right? You want to be unstoppable even when you are baiting out specials because there are bleeds on the opponent and they will or sorry, that doesn't matter because it's just your attack rating, right? Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter for the bleeds on the opponent, but you just always want to be unstoppable if you're attacking them regardless. I know, Kat. I think that answers the question, am I doing all of this tonight? Because I think we just heard how much I have left in me. Still, we can do a little bit more. Haven't seen video of it, but I do know that there are people who have done it, yes. Purgatory for Epic. Take care, Cyber. I feel like M'Baku should have a better way to get around inequity. I mean, he's got Purify. He doesn't debuff himself. Does he actually need to counter inequity? Most champions in the game would benefit from countering inequity. I'm not really sold that M'Baku needs to be one of them. To me, that feels like something that should be pretty specific for characters like Patriot. Not Kingpin, because Kingpin is overtuned. You could maybe make the argument for Atuma, but I think he's doing all right. Anywho. All right, Tech Fractured Power. Cool. Watch out for roots. Hurt Locker. Let's see if Arcade works out well. And then just grab Thanos. Pardon me. Which, as soon as I say it, I'm going to swap out Thanos for Carolina because, as we talked about earlier, Thanos is currently lightly bugged against Zola. Yeah, but again, Magnus, like, you can make an argument like that for everyone. With inequity, it takes much longer to deal damage. That's just true. I'm not persuaded that that makes M'Baku special in terms of like how much he wants to answer inequity. And welcome from Twitch, Omega. Ugh. Buddy. This is gonna be way overkill, but that's fine. Jerk. I haven't heard anybody who used Purgatory say they regretted it, Tim. But yeah, up to you. Take care, Walrus. Have a good one. Yeah, this almost has to be, doesn't it? Pardon me. Alright, let's make sure to use arcade somewhere near. I was sure I was blocking. That was weird. Oh well. Part of why I brought arcade. Dude's tanky. Even when I play very poorly. She did catch me off guard with that one, though. That one was done. Not my best at all. Excuse me. Let's see if I can successfully play around his unstoppable this time. It's fine, I'll take the Hurt Locker there. Alright, let me see if I can keep off the back wall with Sam this time. Not if they keep playing this passive, I'm not going to be able to. Jesus. Okay, now I'll wait. Take care, Warrior. Have a good one. Timed fights and story quests? Probably not in story. Pardon me. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, if what you mean is timed PvE generally, then sure, I can absolutely see that. I don't think I see it for story. Oops. Reading chat, not paying attention. Thanks for the report, Magnus. I will... Just to be sure, that's not what his description says, right? Yep, making a note. I think I know exactly what's missing in his code. I'm surprised that one made it out the door. I know I can do this fight with Carolina, but this actually feels like a good place to practice Carl versus Zola, which is a good one if you haven't tried it. A little tricky, though. Oh, right. Why did I do this? Okay, never mind. It's actually a terrible place to practice Carl versus Zola, and I should have brought somebody else. So let's just go destroy this with Carolina. I've done the fight enough with Sam in Battlegrounds, so I'm not concerned about that one. It's a weird color for immunity. I mean, I think we should absolutely punish people who abuse it. I just would not qualify everyone who did a fight knowing it was live is abusing it, right? Like, if you went and did a couple Necropolis fights with it because you thought it was fun and you already 100%ed Necropolis, I do not care. Go forth and prosper. Knock yourself out. Um, if you had not done Necropolis and you did like 3 lanes of it with Gladiator while he was bugged, then I think you should be banned for minimum a month and things should be clawed back from your account. But that's not my job to make those calls. So that is purely just my thoughts, like you said. Sometimes people who do have power ask me my thoughts, but that's, yeah, not the important part here. That'll be fun. My coughing is starting to spike, as y'all have been able to tell. So I'm going to go ahead and call it here. But thank you everybody for hanging out. There are only a couple of y'all over on Twitch, which I appreciate y'all. I'm going to go ahead and send both of y'all on a raid. But yeah, thank you everybody for hanging out with me. And